Good evening, everyone. You just joined an online event organized by Work in Lithuania, Match Your Talent. If on your New Year resolution you put similar statements such as, I would like to advance my career, my life requires some changes, or I would like to have some more adventures in life, you are just the right audience to participate in this event. My name is Paulauskaitė, and I will be leading you today through this event. Let's see what is ahead of us. So, at the beginning, we will have some time to meet each other and understand the expectations. Then, Vinted has prepared a presentation how the new normal is shaping the future of talent. I believe it will be really insightful and great messages to get to know. After all, we will have a possibility to win 3 smartwatches in a Slido game. It will be followed by the panel discussion, and we will get to know who are the most wanted talents on the market and how to become and stay one. And finally, we will have the unique opportunity to meet companies privately. So let's see who joined us today. We have several companies on board. So first company is North Security, leaders in online privacy and security. Their products are being used by over 15 million people globally. Over less than a decade, from 4 friends, the company has grown to hundreds of cybersecurity experts, and they're still hiring. Next company is NanoAvionics, one and the only satellite designer, manufacturer, and operator in Lithuania. What they do is truly a rocket science, serving companies from startups to NASA. They will be also participating. Then we have Vinted, largest online client-to-client marketplace in Europe dedicated to second-hand fashion, with growing community of 37 plus million people, spanning 13 markets, the US, UK, Germany, France, Belgium, Austria, Poland, Czech Republic, Spain, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Italy, and the Netherlands. It's hard to tell everything in one breath. And Nasdaq, a global technology company powering the capital markets with diverse offering of data, analytics, software, services. They enable clients to optimize and execute their businesses with confidence. And all this event is organized, as I mentioned, by Work in Lithuania, the company which is matching talents and companies and bringing bright future careers, giving advice and providing consultations. To understand how we'll navigate through this event, you will see on the right side of your screen the chat function. So if you will have some questions regarding the event or to our panelists, or generally you would like to know something very specific, please type your question and I will be eager to address it to the right people and provide you the answer. Other thing, for all the interactions, we will use Slido platform. And in order to get to know how it's being used, let's start to get to know each other. So you can open Slido on your computer or scan the QR code with your phone. And when you go to website slido.com, you will be asked to type a code, so which is Work in Lithuania. And the first question is, where are you now? You can type country, city, and if you want to hide this information, so at least let us know if you're at home or in the park or walking outside. So we see already some answers coming. We have people in Vilnius, Germany, Edinburgh, Klaipėda, home, bedroom. Okay, don't get too specific. United Kingdom, Egypt. We went out of Europe. Then people from home in Ankara. Hello, people from Turkey, Rotterdam. Let's see, answers are coming. Denmark, Argentina, Pakistan. Very nice. UK, Copenhagen, Bristol, Birštonas, Skuodas. I see we have really big variety of cities and countries presented today. Answers are still coming, and I'm really curious to know. So where do come people from where they're joining? Could I see the slide to see the final answers? Okay. So we have also people from Belarus. Welcome. And maybe here we wait a couple of more minutes till we get maybe 80 participants answer the question, and then we will move to the next question, which will be also answered on Slido. So the question is, where are you now? So we have some neighboring countries, some pretty far countries. So if people, we have also people from India, and somebody answered that they are in work in Lithuania. So people mean probably in Lithuania and at work. Okay, so we got pretty a number of answers. Majority of people are joining from Vilnius. So let's move to the next question. And I would like to know, so what do you expect from this event? I know that you saw advertisement on Facebook and other social media channels about this event. You saw the agenda, and I'm curious, so what attracted your attention and why you decided to participate? What would you like to take as an outcome from this event? Please provide like few words or a sentence about your personal expectations to join this event, and what would be the outcome you would like to leave with. Finding an internship, great. Okay, I see like somebody came for Vinted. We will have 2 possibilities to meet them. Get to know opportunities in Lithuania. So we will definitely present these job opportunities with a watch. I believe lots of people will be willing to win a watch. So I wish you luck. Explore job opportunities. That's a right event to participate. Understanding Lithuanian job market. We will have presentations about that. So I'm happy that we are ready. Okay, people are interested in Vinted and Nasdaq. So you will have an opportunity to talk to them directly. They will be happy to host you in the private rooms. And lots of companies also, which are participating today, said that they will reveal some secrets and also provide insights, give possibility to win some prizes, and also offer you jobs. Job and work permit in Europe. So as I know, Nasdaq will make in the private room a presentation about relocation to Lithuania. So I believe that they will be giving they will be providing you answers to the questions you came with, and to connect with Vinted. So thank you very much for your answers. And what I see that you are truly a right audience for this event, and I believe lots of these questions and expectations will be answered in the end. All of this event will take 2 hours, so please dedicate your time and actively participate, win the prizes, ask questions, and learn more about the companies which are presented today. And now I would like to invite Ieva from Vinted to join us, and she will give us a speech and insight information about how the new normal is shaping the future of talent. And I believe that she's the right person to do so because she's talent acquisition team lead. So basically hiring people and leading team who are hiring people. So Ieva, welcome on board, and the stage is yours.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much, Gedra, for such a nice welcome. Let me try, first of all, sharing my screen. And I do hope that you all are able to see that. If someone could let me know if that's the case, if you're able to see that, that would be great.
Yeah, I can confirm that your presentation is visible. So
cool.
You have a green light.
Cool, thank you very much. Gedra have already introduced me. My name is Ieva. I'm a talent acquisition team lead at Vinted, and as quite some answers about what your expectations are from this event was about, connecting to Vinted. Me, myself, being a proper recruiter, I'm just gonna go and say that you can find me on LinkedIn, connect, and we can continue the discussion offline. But first of all, of course, I want to thank Work in Lithuania to organizing this event and to actually inviting me. It's an honor to be here, and thank you very much to everyone who have joined. I guess we are supposed to be already used to participating in online events, but honestly, it's still a bit weird to know that I'm talking to quite some people, but in reality, I'm just sitting at home and talking to my screen, so that's still a bit weird. So please be active. I know that we cannot interact we would be able to do live, but still you can ask questions, comment in chats, etc. So please do that. So let's dive into the topic, and I'm going to start with being a Captain Obvious here. So back in 2020, the world has experienced something very unexpected and highly influential, and that, of course, was a COVID-19 pandemic. It made a huge impact on each and every single aspect of our lives. So I'm here today to talk to you about what kind of impact it made and is still making to our work life, or in other words, how the new normal is shaping the future of talent. Of course, this is a very broad and complex topic, which can be addressed from many different angles, and we have only half an hour here today, so I cannot address everything, and I decided to narrow it down a bit and talk about what we know is probably going to happen within labor market as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, and how this should affect how you choose your potential future employer. So changing jobs has always been complicated, and that's absolutely normal. We spend almost 1/3 of our time working, so it's more than natural that we want to feel good at work, and that's why when we're changing jobs, we want to make the right decision. And we know a lot about our current job and our current employer, and very little or almost nothing about the future one. So that's complicated. But now when Corona hit us, loads of new unknown fields appeared. We hear a lot of negative information about the pandemic, about economic instability, growing unemployment rates. Plus, there is a lot of speculation around the topic, and that enlarges our fear to actually change the job. But the actual reason for that is the biggest fear that human beings have, and it's actually the fear of unknown. And the problem is that we can actually fight this fear of unknown, but we forget to properly interview our potential employer. We forget to ask questions that really matters. This is a very common mistake. People are used to being interviewed, but usually forget that at the end of the day, both sides are making a decision. Both sides have to have all the information that they need to make the right decision. And even if you were interviewing your potential employers before the pandemic, chances are that you're going to miss to discuss some important aspects which arose as a result of the pandemic. So today we're going to talk about the trends that most probably gonna stick, so that you can address all that with your potential future employer and see if this company gonna be adaptable enough to survive in the post-pandemic world. So I want to start, I guess, with the most apparent and the heaviest change that pandemic brought us, and that's changes in the economic landscape. While some industries are crumbling down, others are thriving. And of course, the hardest hit was received by the industries which by nature include a lot of human interactions and simply cannot continue due to the pandemic restrictions. And that, of course, is travel and transportation, especially airlines, energy and resources, especially oil and gas drilling, retail, of course, except food, hotels, restaurants, cafes, leisure activities, manufacturing, casino, and gambling. And the thriving industries are naturally those which offer help fighting the pandemic, which offers substitutes for what we can no longer do, and which simply help people to adapt to the changes in everyday life. And that's, of course, healthcare and fitness, shipping and delivery, e-commerce, software development, insurance, real estate, and interestingly, legal. So the most important thing to do in order to feel at least a bit safer when changing jobs is evaluating the industry which a potential employer is operating in, and evaluating whether that industry is under a positive or a negative impact of the pandemic. That you can easily do on your own by simply Googling it, but my advice would be to go a bit deeper here and evaluate not only the industry, but the employer itself. Because, for example, if you're looking at a manufacturing company, but it's making healthcare products, right? For example, masks. Even if the industry is down, this particular company can thrive. And vice versa. If the industry is booming, that doesn't necessarily mean that a company is using that opportunity properly. Maybe it just can't keep up with the growing demand. And we can take our own example here, Vinted example, right? E-commerce and marketplaces are booming, and that's a very good sign for Vinted as a company, right? But we did have some serious struggles at the beginning of the pandemic. We just were not ready, nor were our vendors ready for such an instant and tremendous growth of parcels. So we needed to do some serious rethinking around shipping. We solved that out successfully, and that's great, but that's not the end. We know that our competitors are using this same opportunity as well. So we know that we need to think ahead if we want to stay on top of the game, right? So the first thing that you should ask during your interview is how the pandemic affected the company that you're interviewing with. What changes have they made to adjust to these changes in the circumstances? What is the plan for the future? This will give you quite a good glimpse of whether or not company is adaptable enough to survive during and post-pandemic, and in turn, whether you might end up praying not to be next in line to get fired. So that's the economic side of it, and another part of it is, of course, organizing work. The most obvious change that most of us have experienced is actually the remote work. And this aspect of pandemic created the most speculation around it. Some say that, the era of the offices, is dead and we're never gonna get back to the offices. Others say that, people are social creatures. So once it's over, we all wanna, once you jump back straight to the offices. So there were a lot of speculations. So I want to actually ask your stand on this. And we can move to slide 2 now as well, because I want to ask you, how would you prefer to work after the pandemic is over? Is that fully on site, fully in the office? Would you prefer actually staying fully remote, or would you prefer having a hybrid flexible model, meaning that you can choose to work from wherever, whenever you want? As I cannot see what's happening there, Giedrė, can you help me with the results and just tell me what answer is trending the most?
Definitely. We just wait a moment till we will get more replies.
Sure. There were a lot of researches with this question, so it's interesting to run a little research of our own and see whether the answers are matching. I'm just gonna take this moment to have a sip of water. Yep.
People are still answering, so one moment. Majority of people answered, a great majority of people answered that they want a hybrid flexible model after the pandemics. So does it match the research is done?
Exactly. Absolutely. Everybody reported that there are, they are seeing changes and what people want and what employers offer. And, LinkedIn said, for example, that they were seeing 4 times the number of jobs that offer remote work since March. And they saw a huge increase using the remote filter on LinkedIn searches used by the job seekers. So, excuse me, you can definitely see that, trends are changing. And Future Forum, for example, ran a survey with almost 5,000 employees, and the majority said that they never want to go back to the old way of working. And the majority said that they want a hybrid remote office model moving forward. So I guess our little experiment here matched the global trends. So, but what does that mean for the employers? It means that if you want to be successful, if the companies wants to be successful, they must adapt to this change in employees' mindset and needs to start preparing right away. So what you want to ask your potential employer is, what is their policy around remote work and how exactly are they preparing for it? What's the policy on flexible working hours? How they are ensuring ergonomic workplaces at home? What kind of technologies are they using? What about cybersecurity and all of these stuff? Because that having all of these answers can tell you a lot about employers' prospect to attract best talent, ergo thrive post-pandemic. And you can as well choose the one who suits your individual needs the best. Let me give you again some examples from our life, from Vinted. We were always very flexible about work hours. So of course, we continue doing that because we trust our employees and we don't feel the need to control everyone now when we are working remotely. So, that flexible work hour aspect shows a lot about the trust, right? Also, we were quite flexible about working from home, but as well, we understood that quite some people come to the office just because they don't have an ergonomic workplace at home. So now when we are forced to work from home, what we did is actually we have desks, chairs, etc. shipped to colleagues' home. Actually, I'm using a desk and a chair which was sent to me by my employer as well. We also understood that people are losing office perks, such as, lunch. So we arranged the food delivery every day, for those who prefers that. And there are many more initiatives that we and other companies are taking when it comes to the remote work. So just ask what exactly are those and choose what matches your needs the most. Moving forward, I also want to talk about a bit about motivation. Of course, motivation is a very individual thing, but many researches shows that some universal trends appears, and there are some motivational, universal motivational trends, and that's across various different studies. You can find these 5 things that pop up in different order as the key motivators at work, and that's compensation, job security, recognition and appreciation, employee involvement, challenging work, and growth opportunities. The first one is in the nature of work relationship. The second one is one of the reasons why we are having this talk today, so I won't address these 2 separately. And the rest 3 are lying in organization's culture, and they are a key why employees tend to stick around in some companies rather than others. So all of this is in the culture, but the danger today is that these 3 motivators can easily be missed during the pandemic, especially when they require a bit of different form of expression during these times. So recognition and appreciation is no longer about your manager appreciating the results that you've reached, but about recognizing and caring about what you are facing during these challenging times. Involvement is not only about being informed or being a part of the decision making, but also about staying connected to your colleagues and even to the company on a deeper level. And growth opportunities are not only about challenging projects, but about learning what the changing future will require the most. So if an employer does not address these needs, at the end of the day, you might feel like there's no difference for what company you do the same job. So only organizations which pay attention to these things can really thrive beyond the pandemic. And let's dive deeper into each of them. So first of all, care, right? And the first aspect of that is of course, physical care, because again, stating the obvious, the health of almost all people on the planet is to some extent at risk. So the employers shouldn't think of it as our individual problem. They have to ensure measures of physical security for people who choose or have to work from the office, and also help those who were affected by this pandemic. So that's what you should ask first. What measures of security did you take once the pandemic hit us? What measures of security are you taking now, and what are you planning for the future? Again, let me give you a quick examples of what to look for in there. So basically, at Vinted, we had, once pandemic hit us, we instantly had a crisis management group which was communicating a lot about what's happening in the world, what's happening in the company, how we're going to approach different aspects of this pandemic so that people would be informed. We had, of course, the hygiene supplies, masks, sanitizers, etc. We covered the COVID tests for our colleagues if they were like, if they potentially were, for example, in the contact with a person who already had COVID. And that's everything COVID related, but we added one more thing. We added remote fitness classes just because, we understood that once people are working from home, they are moving less than in the office, and that can affect actually their physical health as well. So we wanted to help them out in some way. So that's why we organized that. Another aspect of care is mental health, and even though most researchers showed productivity increase when working from home, reality shows that the work-life blend extended working hours by approximately 10 to 20%. For some people, it was extremely challenging to balance work and family responsibilities, especially for those who have preschool kids. And adding the factor of social isolation, we get not a very tasty cocktail, which is contributing to reduced mental health. So another set of questions you might be targeting is, how does the company monitor employees' well-being, and what do they do to prevent negative impact on employees' mental health? Again, what to look for, a couple of examples. We at Vinted organized psychology lectures where specialists were talking how people can, adapt and adjust to these ambiguous and vague circumstances, and how to cope with the stress in these kind of situations. We arranged the individual psychologists sessions for those in need, and our most recent initiative was that we provided access to this app called Mindletic, which is an app for taking care of your mental health more. So these are just a couple of examples, but that's how you can evaluate whether the employer really cares, what's happening with you. The other aspect is connection, and pandemic might have created an impression that once it hit us, people became more connected. In the early days of pandemic, Microsoft, they were mining the client data from Microsoft Teams. So they reported a 200% increase in virtual meetings, with a total of 2.7 billion meetings per day. That's only Microsoft Teams, but you can add Zoom, Google Meets, etc., and that would be way bigger number. So it can look like that we are very well connected, but reality shows that these are purely work meetings. And one of the most important reasons why most people want to have this hybrid model of working after time gets calmer is because we are neurobiologically hardwired to connect with other people on personal level. We miss those gatherings around coffee machine, as well as a colleague coming to our table saying, hey, do you have a minute? Which of course turns into a half an hour brainstorming session. We miss that because we need that. This is how our brain works. Right. And also, since it's hard to have a huge virtual meetings, the number of participants is usually limited. But the quantity of the meetings might create an illusion that people are communicating a lot, so everyone is well informed. And this is a pitfall which can create a huge communication gaps and therefore mistakes. They can even create a decrease in employee sense of involvement in company's life, or involvement in business as such. So that's why you need to ask your potential employer how they approach 3 different communication aspects, and that's quantity, type, and quality. What kind of technologies and channels are they using for communication across the board? How and how often people get business updates? What about social events? How does the employer enables and encourages it? And one more important aspect is that leaders in the company play a critical role in keeping people connected to each other and to the organization. So you should address these topics with your potential manager during the interviews. How do they adapt to leading remote or dispersed teams? How do they approach one-on-ones? How do they ensure their team spirit is high? How do they combine performance management and monitoring work satisfaction? And you are going to meet your potential future manager at some point in the interviewing process. So use this chance to interview them properly. Yet again, what to look for, only a couple of examples from Vinted. Since the pandemic hit us, we started to have weekly all hands meetings. These were live, well, of course, virtual, but with a lot of interactions, meetings with a lot of interactions with top management, where they were giving us business updates, and we can ask questions about whatever we want, about what's happening with the business, or you name it. Of course, we continue to have continue to have team building budgets, and we really encourage people to have those, and don't forget to use that. We rolled out the leadership training program so that our leaders would be better prepared for managing the teams that are changing. So excuse me, yet again, only a couple of examples. And as I've been talking too much, I guess, excuse me, I'm going to have a sip of water so that my voice wouldn't be breaking too much. So, and the last aspect, right, is, as I mentioned, learning and development. Basically, upskilling and reskilling employees was an emerging trend long before the pandemic. It was getting clear that with the technological advancement, automation, robotization, artificial intelligence, humans' focus needs to shift to so-called soft skills. But once the pandemic hit us, the necessity for this unraveled with the new speed. It became absolutely clear that skills like communication, adaptivity to change, agility, change management, and so on is extremely important for the organization to thrive. And if hard skills are relatively easy to get, you can learn them as well. You can simply outsource them. Soft skills are extremely difficult to obtain. Given that in these uncertain times when we are focusing on our safety and adjusting to a new reality, learning and even understanding what to learn is very difficult. Companies need to give a push to their employees if they want to prosper after this madness ends. Excuse me, what we did at Vinted, only one small example, is that we rolled out training program called self-development. And the aim of this program was to increase self-awareness when it comes to learning. How do I learn? What keeps me away from learning? How to learn when times are ambiguous? So basically, we wanted to actually give people, some skills that they could be, could continue learning on their own when the situation is that vague. So that's why you have to ask your potential employer, how do they approach learning? What role does learning and development play within HR function? What they are focusing on in employees' development plans? And you can actually ask your interviewer what is the last thing that they learned. That can be a very good example for you as well. So this can draw you quite some picture on what growth opportunities will you have and whether your future employer is looking at the right direction. So to wrap up, I know I probably didn't say anything groundbreaking today, but I think we all first need to master the basics before going to the pro level, that's how life works. So my main message for you today is this. Think of how organizations will potentially look like after the pandemic. Think what matters most for you personally and start interviewing your potential employers just as they interview you. This way you will be sure to make a right decision and you can choose the organization with which lets your talent sparkle during the pandemic and beyond. So thank you very much, and I'm now ready for your questions.
Thank you, Ieva. I believe that you gave us a great piece of advice, basically how to choose your future employer and also how to act during the job interview. A list of questions to ask. So very nice to hear. And I would like to ask you, what is the last thing you have learned?
Actually, this is a very good question. I have learned to work with several different tools. I'm not gonna mention what specifically, but yeah, basically we were focusing a lot on enabling new technologies that would make our collaboration and communication easier. So that was mostly focused on these kind of skills. But I'm also enrolled myself in many online courses about delegating, communication, etc. So yeah, I keep doing that because basically Vinted is very much encouraging us to do that.
Thank you. I would like to ask you the question Benjamin asked. May I know what is employer choice between remote work and office work? Is there any research in that case, or maybe you also have Vinted answer?
I guess I guess the employer now have to follow what employees need, and if we look at it, like in a very simple way, working without the office, can cut employers' expenses massively, tremendously. But that's not why we should, that's not what should be the reason. We should think about what employees want, and I guess we must adapt to that. So I guess employers will follow the trend that they're going to have actually offices, but mostly will be flexible when it comes to employees' choice. And I guess well, not guess, I know that we're gonna definitely do the same.
Mm-hmm. Yolanta is asking you, like, on what criteria you choose your future employees? What is the perfect candidate for Vinted?
Okay, so that's always, I guess, the blend of two things, and that's again, hard skills, soft skills, and okay, so three things: hard skills, soft skills, and then the cultural aspect, right? So we of course we look at the role and the roles requirements, and whether a person has that experience and that skills which are required to actually be able to do that job. If the person have the soft skills that are also mostly required by the role, but by the employer at some point as well. And we of course think about the cultural aspect. So we think not only about the cultural match, because we do have our values that are very, very important to us, and we would like to for people to kind of possess pretty much the same values. We could tell that, but it's not only that, because we don't look at only at the cultural fit. We also look at the cultural add and what other cultural aspects and what other cultural value this person could bring to the team and to the company.
Mm-hmm. How flexible are you with hiring people fully remotely? Like if the person is living, I don't know, in India and working for Vinted Lithuania or Vinted Netherlands, or for example, if we have some international students who are having work restrictions, like that they can maximum work 20 hours per week. Are you flexible with that?
To some extent, because it's not that simple actually, because behind that there are a lot of legal requirements, a lot of financial requirements, taxation requirements, etc. So yes, we do have the setup which now let us employ people in 10 different countries, and so we're quite flexible. But we are currently working on enabling this model more and be even more flexible, and maybe go fully to the model where we don't restrict where the person is working or not. But we are not there yet, but we're working on that, and we now have quite some flexibility on that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, our time is running up. But we have some questions left unanswered. And dear participants, you have two options: either to connect with Ieva on LinkedIn and ask the questions directly, or come to Vinted private room, which we'll have in the end of our event today, and ask in person about your work opportunities in this company. So thank you once again, Ieva, and let's move to the next part of our event. And we will have a great opportunity to have a quiz and win 3 smartwatches. I believe that some of you will leave this event not only with new job proposals, but also with a new watch. How great is that? Might be that this is your successful day. For that game, which will consist of 6 questions, one question will last 30 seconds. You will have to be very fast and provide correct answers. In order to win, you have to go on Slido again. And please register with your name, just because we need to know who in the end wins the smartwatches. So in order not to lose the winners, use your name, surname, or name and some letters of your surname. And we will wait for all of you to register, and then we will start with the questions. As I mentioned, we will have 6 questions, so you will have to be really attentive, pay attention to the details, look at the screen, and then it will help you to win. Okay, well, let's wait for some time, because some of you have really long names. The smartwatches are provided by Work in Lithuania, and the company which made them is Garmin. If you see your name on the screen, it means that you already registered and you're ready for the game. Let's wait for some other participants. Okay, I see that the numbers are not growing anymore. So let's count till 10, and I will count slowly, that all of you can register. And I wish you biggest luck to win the smartwatch. Garmin Vivo Active 4. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 99 participants. Well, we have 100. Okay, I believe we have to start. And wish you all luck. As I mentioned, 30 seconds for the question. So first question, what is the acronym for Nasdaq? Read carefully. Time is getting to the end. We have 10 seconds left to answer. Okay. Let's check what was the correct answer. Nasdaq stands for National Association of Security Dealers Automated Quotations. 47% of you answered correctly. Congratulations. Let's move to next question. How many job positions are currently open at Nord Security? This one is pretty easy, or you can be lucky and guess correctly. So we still have 4 questions left, but let's check the correct answer. And the correct answer is 64 open positions are currently at Nord Security. So congratulations, 27% of people who voted correctly. Okay, the tension is getting higher. Which one is NanoAvionics client? We have 4 answers. Please pick one. Okay. As I mentioned, NanoAvionics is working with starting from startups to NASA. So all of the above are correct answers. 3 more questions to go. Let's move to the next one. How many users the Vinted app has globally? I mentioned this information today. Okay, so Vinted has 35 million plus users. So congratulations, half of people guessed correctly. Let's move to question number 5. What is Lithuania famous for? I believe there are more reasons than mentioned on the list, but please pick the answer you think which is correct. So Lithuania is famous for many reasons, and the majority of you answered correctly that it's all the reasons mentioned above. Netflix series, which are being filmed here. Vilnius is really a green city and one of the greenest in the EU. And you can fly with air balloon over Vilnius Old Town, which is an amazing experience. So once you come here, so try it out. And we have the last question, and after this question, we'll know the winner. So Amsterdam, Singapore, Salzburg, Montreal, Portland, Mexico City, Auckland, Reykjavik, Chengdu, and Vilnius was listed as cities best for whom or what? Okay, and here the correct answer is that it's really good city to live for expats. Unfortunately, majority of you voted that it's good for startups. Yes, you're right, but actually it's much better for expats. Thank you for participating in the game, and let's see who are the winners. If you see your name and on number 1, number 2, and number 3 place, so congratulations. So Gabriele, Aurimas, and Dangal, you answered correctly and you won the smartwatch. So how to receive the smartwatch in the end? So you will have to do some things. First of all, please do a screenshot showing that you won the competition. Slide is showing you that you won place number 1, number 2, or number 3. And send a letter with your contact information to info@workinglithuania.lt. And don't forget to use same email address that you used for registering to this event. And then Work in Lithuania team will send you the prize. And I hope that you will enjoy it and it will make your year even better. So thank you everyone for participating. It was a great game to a little bit mingle your mind and to get to know more about the companies and the possibilities Lithuania is providing. But just to be more on track and understand all the career possibilities we have today, I would like to move to the panel discussion. And we have panelists who will join us today. We'll have Greta, talent acquisition partner from Nasdaq, Tomas, Viskontas, Tyla. He is head of development, organizational development at NanoAvionics. Benas, also talent acquisition partner at Nord Security, and Eglė, head of work in Lithuania. So are you all here? Please come online. And I have some questions for you regarding the career opportunities at your company and in the whole country. Perfect. I see that you have joined. So welcome to this event. And I would like to remind the participants that if you have some questions, you can also use the chat function and address these questions. I will pass it to our panelists. But let's start with our panel discussion questions. So who are the most wanted talents on Lithuanian market at the moment? And Eglė, since you're the head of work in Lithuania, could you please answer this question?
Yes, of course, Greta. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yes, yes.
Great. So I'm really glad to start off with this question, and because, you know, the whole pandemic situation has vastly changed our daily routines and stopped many things from happening. And I think so that it might give us an impression that everything is in some sort of limbo, you know, and it might discourage us to take up new challenges or just, you know, make major changes in our lives and in our careers. But it shouldn't be the case, and it shouldn't be the case when you come to Lithuania. I think that Ieva have given plenty of examples how quick and creative Lithuanian employers were to adjust to the ways things are done in Lithuania. And I think that it equally applies to the country as a whole and to the labor market itself. So I think it's important to mention that despite this whole pandemic situation, Lithuania continued to grow and adapt to the new normal, both as a destination for foreign investments and as a location for international and in some cases remote careers. So in that regard, I would say that in 2020 alone, Lithuania has managed to attract even 27 new foreign investments. And those investors have created more than 4,000 new job opportunities. I think that 100 of those new job opportunities are being created in the tech sector. Another 1,500 is going to be created in the global business sector. And the remaining 1,000 and a bit, several hundreds of those new jobs will land in the manufacturing and life science industry. And here I'm speaking only about the demand created on top of the existing demand of the already established and successfully operating companies and their need for employees. So I think that it's very illustrative that our companies, the ones partnering with Work in Lithuania, are posting like 300 to 400 new job openings every month. And all those job openings are suited and open for international candidates, meaning that that Lithuanian language is not a prerequisite. And it's also illustrative that the selection of those companies is pretty diverse. And those companies, like Ieva have mentioned, have not been affected by the pandemic itself. So it ranges from the tech giants, well-known banks and manufacturers to local startups and newly born fintechs. In fact, technology and global business services have been the main sectors that have been booming in Lithuania over the last few decades. Fintech is yet another well-known and significant gemstone in Lithuanian economic landscape as well, with companies employing more than 4,000 employees. So for the ones looking for new adventures and for new career paths, Lithuania has a lot to offer, namely in the sphere of in a form of new and interesting job opportunities, especially in this time of the year and circumstances, with Brexit actually happening and Belarusian companies relocating vast numbers of their functions to Lithuania. The demand for talented and skillful people it will be ever growing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your answer. And I would like to get more specific and ask companies, like, who are you looking for? So maybe Thomas, let's start from you. Can you tell what colleagues are missing at NanoAvionics?
Yeah, so, we are mostly missing people who want to work in space and who are interested in rocket science. Because what we do is actually rocket science, as Greta mentioned in the very beginning. Mostly we are struggling to find good engineers. So that's mechanical engineering, electronical engineering, software engineering, but we also always look for good sales representatives, good marketing specialists, and so on. So, that's probably but as I mentioned in the beginning, the biggest struggle for us right now is to find very good engineers with a background, ideally with a background in aerospace and engineering.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Greta, what about Nasdaq?
Mm-hmm. In Nasdaq, we are currently also orienting a lot into tech, and we are constantly looking for testers, Java developers, and in different various levels. And also we have internship positions open at the moment for the summer. So we're excited about that. Usually we have people staying in the company after the internship. So if anyone is interested to apply for the opportunities to start their career in the stock exchange technology industry, that's a great opportunity to do so. And also on the top of tech positions, we also have some support and finance roles too. So yeah, it's a huge variety of different roles open at the moment, and our arms are wide open and to accept any applications.
So what I understood, it's best to check Nasdaq job opportunities section and find what is suitable for every candidate.
That's
and
right.
Let's move to Benas. Benny,
Yes,
could you tell what is situation at Nord Security?
Absolutely. So I probably won't be too original, stating that IT is still the fastest growing industry. By saying IT, I mean engineering, development, QA, UX design, and all sort of that related stuff. But marketing is growing really, really fast. So, to be more specific, SEO, PPC, the same copywriters, content creators, we see like really, really growing tendency towards marketing. And both internationally and in Lithuania, legal and finance is picking up really fast. So hopefully, that would be the next IT, sector.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the answer. And since Greta already mentioned internship opportunities at Nasdaq, do you also, Benas, offer internships for people?
Absolutely. So we have a program called Tech Rookies, where we gather people, from our internal departments, people from outside of Node Security, and we give them a chance to join our company if they're willing to switch, maybe, take a different career path, switching from business to development. And yeah, of course, we have a process in selection. And after the internships, they can also join full time. So we've got loads of success stories that even 17 years olds join our company and still staying here for almost 2 years. So that's all up to you.
Mm-hmm. And what about NanoAvionics, Thomas?
Sure, we are always looking for new, fresh people, especially when they're so eager to try out their skills or test their skills, or to learn something new. So we do not have any programs up and running as Nord Security, but we always are waiting for applications for people who want to apply for like summer practice or something like that. We have also a couple of success stories where people came just after school and then they decided to stay there. So we are always looking for open-minded people, especially with the focus on engineering. But people with interest in marketing or sales are welcome as well, of course.
Mm-hmm. What we heard on Eva's presentation, that during the pandemics, people are a little bit afraid of changing the jobs just because they're not sure about cultural fit. It's hard to get onboarded, about relocation and so on. I checked your LinkedIn, Greta, and I see that you, as I understand, joined Nasdaq while quarantine was happening. Could you tell me about your experience, how it was happening?
Yeah, so I actually joined Nasdaq in 2020 and August, and in the heart of the pandemic, I think, when everyone was onboarding remotely. So I had my experience with remote interviewing, like fully remote, and fully remote onboarding with getting all the technology, computer, laptop, and phone and anything that is possibly needed to do your job remotely. So the experience was great. It was much, much smoother than expected, because I was expected like anything could possibly happen when you're joining remotely. But even the tech support that helps you to get all the accesses needed for your first day at work was really fast and eager to help you on the same day when you joined. So it was a great experience so far. I'm willing to meet my colleagues in person as soon as possible, because we didn't have much time together still, but we have a lot of technologies like video calls and like conferences like this, when you can still keep in touch somehow and have this at least little human touch. But so far it's been great, and I feel really, really good about it.
Thank you. Personal stories always are most interesting. And Thomas, so what about NanoAvionics? Like, have you hired some people also online, and are they working maybe fully remotely? Rocket science things.
Yeah, obviously, we didn't stop hiring when the first pandemic, first quarantine hit, and we remained in the hiring mode during the second quarantine. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, we have hired something like half of the current staff this year. So obviously pandemic didn't stop us. We have had times where we had the full onboarding process from the very first interview up to the first day of work totally remotely. We have hired people in various countries. We have 3 offices, two in Europe, one in the UK, and the headquarters are obviously in Vilnius. But we also have an office in the US, and all of these offices, in all of these offices, we were able to onboard people and hire them completely remotely, sending them the required infrastructure, be it a workstation for modeling with a bunch of gigabytes of RAM, or just a simple laptop for sales representatives, but it wasn't an issue for us. So, well, I think that what's going to happen, as probably was explained by Ieva, so after the pandemic, after the COVID wave diminishes, I think we will return into a sort of a flexible hybrid mode of working at home, remotely, and working at the office. Obviously, even rocket science can be done from home.
Benas, since you are like online privacy and security experts, so what about this pandemic situation and your hiring situation? Do people really need to be in Lithuania, or you have flexible experiences?
Yeah, well, of course we have flexible experiences. So I've actually transitioned to Nord Security while in quarantine. So yeah, the transition was smooth, but we have to point out like the changing tendency. Like the pandemic actually reconstructed the overall hiring process, from interviews to onboarding, etc., etc. So, you know, all the companies that are able to adapt and that are flexible and proactive are able to thrive. So could not agree more what Thomas said. So we actually doubled in size as well during 2020. So we hired close to 800 people. And in the first wave of quarantine alone, we hired 220 people as well. So yeah, we still virtually onboard people. We send them necessary equipment, all those laptops, work agreements, etc. And as I mentioned, we do onboarding online as well.
That's huge numbers. We have a question from the audience, and I would like to ask Eglė maybe first to answer the question and to comment about some extent of fear of European companies to hire non-EU citizens due to some necessary visa requirements and regulations. So how this process, to your point of view, is working out, and how welcome are people from non-EU countries to come and work in Lithuanian companies?
People from non-EU are welcome equally as the ones coming from the EU. And especially if you have a higher education diploma, or you have 5 years of experience in a certain field, the procedures coming into the country are pretty easy and, you know, survivable. So I would say that it doesn't matter whether you come from the EU or outside or beyond the EU. You're equally welcome. I think what matters in Lithuania is your character, your skills, and your ambition. So don't be anyhow discouraged just because of that.
Thank you. The person is writing that he has graduated from Radzevičius University, and he has some difficulties to get full-time job positions. So maybe, Benas, you could tell me if you have non-EU citizens working at Nord Security.
Like, yes, as a matter of fact, we have people from, well, with 25 different nationalities, you know, well, Belarus, Ukraine, Morocco, Italy, etc., etc. So there are loads of people, you know, being onboarded outside of the EU. So we're trying to make sure that the process is as smooth as possible. Of course, you know, it is different to if you compare individual cases, but yeah, if you're outside EU citizen and already residing in Lithuania, that's always the easiest part, you know, so it's all about suitability for the role. As Ieva said, you know, we're looking for 3 main skills, so soft skills, hard skills, and the cultural match as well. So it's all about, you know, the candidate positioning itself. We're trying to find the best candidates on the market, regardless their nationality, regardless their gender, and, you know, regardless their beliefs. So it's, yeah, it's all about the personal touch.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And Greta, what about Nasdaq?
Yeah, the same. We also encourage everyone to apply, and we equally treat all the applicants. The only probably requirement would be for them to relocate to Lithuania, because we would need to hire them in the location, but definitely we are interviewing different candidates and giving them all the opportunities. And also in the company, we have many different varieties of people from various countries, as well as Benas mentioned. We have people from Belarus, from Italy, from United Kingdom, from Spain, from different countries. So everyone is welcome, and we do check the skills, the passion for the job, the motivation, and the cultural fit a lot. Yeah, and if you have all of those, you're welcome in Nasdaq too.
Kedra, maybe I can jump in with some piece of useful information. So for the ones currently studying in Lithuania, especially for the international students, I would highly suggest to visit our Work in Lithuania portal sections, specifically designed for the ones for the international students. There we provide all the required information about the migration procedures, about the permits of living and working in Lithuania, as well as the job offers suitable for the newcomers into the labor market, the ones that have not yet had some working experience, or the ones freshly graduated. For the ones coming from the third countries, from the ones beyond the European Union borders, I would highly advise to check out what the blue card procedure is. It's a very specialized procedure designed by the Lithuania and by the EU together to simplify the process of relocating and immigrating into the country. It's quick, it's cheap, and it's simple. So just check that out on our website.
Thank you. It was very good insight information from your side, Eglė. And what we also understood, what people fear while changing jobs, it's will I have this cultural match with the company? Because during the recruitment process, I will meet 1 or 2 people, and I do not know what will be about my team. So maybe Thomas, could you tell me more about geeks you are working together with? How to be sure about this cultural match?
Well, if you like memes, if you are a geeky person and are interested in geeky stuff, well, be it computer games or general space-related stuff, you're pretty much a match for our culture. We have a lot of things which I will tell about later in the private room, but we have Counter-Strike tournaments, we have launch events where we sit all together and have some fun. We have some cultural, let's call it things where we share each time a launch happens. So it has to do with peanuts and some other stuff. Unfortunately, under my current NDA, I cannot speak more about that. But if you would be so lucky to join NanoAvionics, I can guarantee you that if you are a geek, if you are a nerdy person, you will feel most at home here. Definitely, in my 12 years experience, I have never felt more at home. And as you can see from my face, probably I look quite geeky myself. So, well, it's a place where you can just feel you can just be yourself, and you'll be accepted.
Thomas, how about women?
Oh,
Do you
women,
accept
sure.
geeky women as well?
Yes, of course. All our ladies are as much geeky as our guys. So if you would be so lucky to just jump into some of our random chats in Teams, you would see that the ladies contribute as much as the guys. So it's definitely a diverse place. Do not think that rockets are built only by men. Our lead mechanical engineering design is a woman, and she has been working with NanoAvionics well for most of the years. NanoAvionics has been active.
So I heard that it was a great invitation to come to the private room and get to know all this hidden cultural information about NanoAvionics. That will be a chance. Also, if you have some very specific questions regarding your CV or regarding migration process, so let's get the answers in the private rooms. And I would like to ask Benas, since, as I understood, you was as a company was growing a lot last year, hired lots of people. So what about also this cultural matching situation during the pandemics, which is harder, as I believe, than everyone meets online in person?
Yeah, so it's all about positioning yourself in the right way. So revealing your characteristics, what you're interested in, and just simply applying to the right opportunity. So then we'll be able to correctly evaluate you. So of course we have our processes designed and tailored towards the needs of the candidates. So it's it's always flexible. I couldn't probably mention anything specific unless you give me like a direction to go to.
Mm-hmm. We have some questions from the audience, and maybe we could start with Greta answering. If to be very specific, what is the highest demand of employees right now? What professions are in the biggest demand at the moment?
Well, I can answer this question from my perspective and what are we looking for probably at Nasdaq. So the highest demand would be for software developers and testers as well of the software. And this would be probably the highest demand. Obviously, we're always looking for a little bit more experienced, more senior people, but in general, we're also looking for eager, motivated, and passionate about the tech industry people in general. So that would be probably the highest demand from my perspective at the moment. Yeah.
Thank you. We heard what is the highest demand already in NanoAvionics. And what about Benas, your company? Like if to tell one or two professions?
Well, it has to be. I would say it's roughly the same because we're a high-performing cybersecurity company, so we're sort of creating software products. So it has to be related to development and marketing because marketing is one of the main powers driving our products to success. So yeah, if I had to, like extinguish two main sectors, so it would be yes, development engineering and marketing.
Mm-hmm. Eglė touched a very sensitive question of gender equality in the companies, and we have a question from the audience. What about gender diversity statistics in each company? So Greta, let's start from you. Maybe you know the information. What about Nasdaq?
Yeah, our gender diversity is pretty almost pretty equal in the company. We will touch a little bit more on that in our private room as well, as my colleague Evelina prepared this information. And we have almost, I don't know the exact percentage at the moment, but it's almost 50-50 women and men in the company in Lithuania. And we're very proud of that. And our CEO is actually a woman, and the general manager in Lithuania is also a woman. And yeah, so we are pretty proud of that.
Okay, and do you have some specific programs how to promote diversity and inclusion at Nasdaq?
Yeah, with diversity and inclusion program is actually really on high pitch at the moment. It's one of the highest topics now. We're actually having separate groups for that. We have Women in Tech group in the company internally, and where women and men together are gathering to promote that a little bit more and educate ourselves internally. Also, our managers are actively participating in all the outside activities, like Women in Tech organization, I think it's called like this, in Lithuania, and they're participating as mentors as well, mentoring the young generation of women going into tech industry too. And our diversity and inclusion whole, or like an organism in the company, is really, really active at the moment, and we're paying a lot of attention, not only like locally but globally too. And it's not only maybe talking about the men and women diversity, but talking in general about all the types of diversity, like LGBTQ or ethnicity diversity, and that as well. We have a lot of different groups internally and committees and people doing, like, even online, we're doing like online sessions to present the different cultures in the company, sharing the experiences, knowledge, and just in general the cultural things and vibes that everyone is feeling. So we're very promoting that and hoping that this might help us to just keep our company a little bit more open, transparent to everyone, and just like a friendly, happy atmosphere for everyone in a simple, probably way, just to answer the question. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Benas, what about North Security? Like, how many men, women do you have, and how do you promote inclusion and diversity?
Yeah, if I had to distinguish by percentage, I would say it's around 60-40. Of course, we're aiming to get it closer to 50-50. But yeah, we have, well, for example, one of my colleagues from recruitment side, she's taking this topic really seriously and, promoting within our organization and within recruitment processes. But as I mentioned before, we're aiming for the best talent, and regardless, if you're a woman or a man, you're bestly fitted for the right job. And what else I can add on this one? So yeah, we're taking different measures to better promote women in the tech industry. For example, I've recently hired a couple of women, really talented women, in the testing area and the development area. So it's really nice to see what it used to be like male-only team being like a diverse team, becoming a more diverse team. So hopefully, the numbers will grow even higher.
I understood that women have chances, really high chances to join the company if they fit culturally, and also they have right skills. And what about Thomas? About you? You mentioned that you have a main engineer, designer who is a woman, but what about other team members?
Well, obviously, I cannot say that we are close to 50-50 or even 60-40. I think we're somewhere in the lines of 80-20, and that obviously has to do that we are mostly engineering-oriented team. I would say the positions which are not engineering are probably somewhere in the range of 20-25%. And obviously engineering roles were usually filled in the universities. The engineering engineering is usually studied by more males than females, and that's the sad truth for now. But for us, for NanoAvionics, it never mattered which sex are you. It always matters your skill, your experience, and your cultural match. We do have women in all the departments. We do have women testers, we have women engineers, we have women in the administration, and so on. It doesn't matter for us. And I would wish that more women would be studying in the STEM fields. because definitely I myself am a master of physics. When I joined the physics faculty in Vilnius University back in 2005, I think we had, out of 200 people, we had, I think, about 8 ladies in 2006. And now in Vilnius University, the statistics are more or less like 60-40. We do have more and more women studying in engineering fields, and I hope that this will help us equal out the staff in NanoAvionics as well.
Okay, so I will close this diversity and inclusion topic, and we'll move to the next question. We learned from Ieva's presentation how to get prepared for the interview and ask right questions for your employer. And as market professionals, I would like to ask you how to get spotted by the companies, how to be ready with your CV, what do you prefer, and what kind of communication people should have in their CVs or LinkedIn or other platforms. So maybe, Greta, you could give us a piece of advice here. I know that you will share more detailed information in the private room, but
So definitely we're looking at people who have their LinkedIn profiles fixed and ready for us to explore. But if you don't have a LinkedIn profile and you apply just with a CV, that's fine as well. Depending on your experience, we would also encourage you to write a motivational letter if you don't have that much of the work experience previously, just to give us some motives on why you're interested in joining the company, because we are definitely reading all of the information you're submitting us, because sometimes I do receive questions if we are reading the motivational letters. So yes, we do. We are reading everything, and we're paying attention to all of the candidates. Mostly what attracts the most is probably the timeline of the CV. What I still notice is happening a lot. We see the timeline going from like the first jobs you ever had to the latest one going at the very bottom of the CV. So I would just, very practical tip, encourage you to do it the opposite way around, just to start from the latest experience and going downwards to the like most oldest jobs you had at the very bottom. So probably that will be just a practical tip. But in general, we are looking for people who have skills needed for the position. So if, let's say, you're not sure if you're suited well enough for the role, but you have doubts, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn as well with a message, and I will just guide you through and give you some practical advice on what you could expect if you would apply. So it's not only me, all of our colleagues in talent acquisition team, we are open to giving advices and suggestions, and just a constructive feedback as well on the profile. And obviously, yes, as you mentioned, I'm going to give a little bit more tips and advices together with my colleague Evelina in our private room too.
Thank you. Benas, since you're also working as talent acquisition partner, so I believe you have great insights how to be spotted by the companies, and what advice could you provide?
Yes, absolutely. I've actually had like quite a few workshops in the past few months, teaching people on how to be better spotted by recruiters. I would say there are two main categories, right? So passive and active. So passive being LinkedIn, CV, local CV portals. So make sure your CV and your information on LinkedIn is up to date as well as relevant to the field you're looking to get into. So try not to be that do-it-all guy. Choose a direction, choose an area that you're passionate in. And as I mentioned, this is the passive step. So that's how you will be spotted by recruiters that are actively looking. For example, we work with algorithms. So it's especially important that you have relevant keywords related to your field. And the active, on the other hand, is directly approaching the company, right? So it can be either applying or checking out with recruiters or similar people, you know, what sort of opportunities are there on the market. So me, myself, as a recruiter, I always appreciate when people just message me and ask if, you know, if there are any openings related to their skill set, if they're applying to the right position. And sometimes I see some candidates, you know, applying to 10 different positions, from office administrator to senior .NET developer to data analyst. So just try to be more specific, because that way you'll be able to make a good impression about yourself. So demonstrate your skill sets, have a clear vision in your mind, have motivation, and as always, be passionate about it.
We have a question also from the audience regarding the language. Is it necessary to speak Lithuanian or Russian if a person wants to work in your company? So Tomas, could you please tell about what is the franca lingua you communicate in the company and what's required?
It's English. All of our internal documentation and everything is in English. We have English-speaking people working here in Vilnius as well as in other countries. So basically, well, a lot of the special terms are in English, and we not even bother to translate them. That's the reality we live in. But basically, no Lithuanian needed. We have people working in the company for a couple of years without, well, even basic understanding of Lithuanian. So it's all good. If you speak English, you are mostly welcome here.
And what about Nasdaq, Greta?
The same as Thomas mentioned, we use only English. English is our main work language, main company language. So no other languages are required. Obviously, maybe it's an advantage if you are working together with a Lithuanian team located in Lithuania, but it's not a requirement. We have a lot of foreign people working in teams as well. So usually we speak only English. All documentation and all email communication is in English.
I believe in North Security is the same situation. Am I right, Benas?
Yes, absolutely. As I mentioned, we have 25 different nationalities, so it would be hard to communicate in any different language. Of course, you know, there are some guys working, for example, from Ukrainian background, right? And they're willing for me to speak to them in Lithuanian because they can learn a bit better. But I would say the general language is English. So as long as you're good with English, you're good to go.
Okay, so thank you very much. And I have final question to Eglė, who is head of work in Lithuania. Eglė, if we have some people, and I see in the comments that some people are planning to relocate to Lithuania, could you tell me more about the reasons, or like if somebody has some doubts, should I or should I not? Like, why to choose Lithuania? Your microphone is off.
Yep. Can you hear me right now? Yeah, so sure, of course, you should choose Lithuania. I think that's a definite message of this event. And, you know, coming back to the panel discussion and to the last question asked, we have like perfect examples of companies already open to hire internationally there, and meaning that Lithuanian language is not a requirement to acquire a perfect job opportunity here. But coming back to your question, the perks of living and working in Lithuania, I think I'll be speaking for the whole Work in Lithuania team to admit that what we usually brag about is the fact that Lithuania can offer the best work-life balance. In fact, OECD has ranked Lithuania like 6th globally in this regard. However, today, after spending like the last 4 to 5 months working remotely, I have personally changed my mind. I think that from now on, I think that Lithuania can provide you with the best lock yourself in and continue working conditions. And it's mainly due to our exceptional level of connectivity and the internet coverage throughout the country. Actually, Lithuanian e-infrastructure is among the best worldwide. We are ranked first globally for fulfilling the business needs for ICT. Here we can enjoy in parallel public Wi-Fi availability. I think that they are 9th globally for 4G availability, so on and so forth. So in many rankings, we excel. And I think that this whole quarantine situation has proven to us once again that due to this exceptional connectivity, people working in Lithuania and for Lithuanian companies can enjoy more personal freedom and choose to work wherever and whenever they want. We've seen companies that employed thousands of employees managing to switch to full remote work regime in matter of days. So I would say that all in all, what makes Lithuania so great is the mixture of different things, and I could not distinct one single one. I think it's a mixture of great work opportunities, flexible and agile employers, and we've seen plenty of examples from the participants today of such things. Compact, yet still spacious and green cities, and of course this digital infrastructure. And as a result of all this complex, I think that Lithuania provides people with the opportunity to spend more time on things that truly matter. So yeah, I think that would be my advice. If you truly appreciate the possibility to choose who you want to be and how you want to live, Lithuania is something that you should go for.
Thank you for your remarks. Lots of perks you mentioned about living in Lithuania or working for Lithuanian companies. And I believe, like all of our participants now, are eagerly waiting for this moment to join and meet all the companies privately. And here shortly, I would like to present you the 4 rooms we will have today. And first room will be hosted by Tomas, whom you already seen, and they will present you about nanosatellites and how to, and will give you an opportunity to get to know actual people behind the engineering team. And as Thomas mentioned, he will open up some cultural secrets of what is happening at NanoAvionics, what he couldn't do openly in the panel discussion. Next room will be hosted by Evelina, who is human resources generalist at Nasdaq. And what they promised is to tell you more about culture, perks, and special treats for employees at Nasdaq. And also they will provide you great tips and even personal coaching on your CV, give you advice about relocation, migration processes, and so on. So join their room if you are willing to hear this information. Next room will be hosted by ethical hacker and cybersecurity expert Andrius, and he will tell you more about exciting and worldwide used products created by the company. Moreover, he will provide you tips how to protect yourself and your data online, so it's really valuable. And I also got to know that they will lose some more prizes there, so if you feel like it today, please join them. And we'll have a room hosted by Vinted, by Sigita, who is head of sustainability. And to have a little sneak peek what will happen inside the room, it's doom and gloom, or why consumption might just be a shortcut path to self-destruction, how fashion industry plays a role in it, and what Vinted does to become part of the solution, and what you can do on your behalf to solve this issue. So I believe like lots of these rooms sound interesting for you and you would like to join not one, but several of these rooms. So we have an opportunity to do so. And you can switch between the rooms. First, when you will choose the room, so pick on the logo of the company, enter the room. And if you see that you got already your answers and want to switch to the other room, so it's possible. We will have 20 to 40 minutes to spend time in the room. what all our panelists told today, that you can get in contact with them on LinkedIn if you will not manage to get all the answers at this event. And I would like to inform you that after the private rooms, we won't come back to the common session altogether. So my time with you is getting over here. And I wish that you will get all the great answers and interesting information in the private rooms. And all the time you already spent with us was full with interesting advice, great insights, facts about Lithuania. And if I will see you soon coming to Lithuania and relocating, so Work in Lithuania company can help you with consultation, with migration issues, and matching companies and talents together for the great results. So thank you very much from my side for participating in the event. And now let's move to the private rooms and enjoy the time with most wanted companies privately and finding answers you already have.